Hello, this is Itsu. Okay, just to show you guys what this L3 coil has for a self-resonance frequency. I saw it before that it was around 22 megahertz. So I have here a single L3 coil on a wooden rod. I have attached the red lead of the function generator. The black lead is hanging loose. I have the yellow probe here just laying on top of this L3 coil, and I have set my function generator, sorry for the glare, at 6 megahertz, 10 volts peak to peak, no 20 volts, because when I go higher than 20 megahertz it will automatically drop down to 10, so I keep it at 10 volts peak to peak. Sine wave, and this is the signal at the moment coming out of the probe. 6 megahertz sine wave, low voltage. I will go down to see what it's around the 3.5 megahertz, but you see it's now around 1.4 megahertz, still nothing. So I cannot explain this lower 3 megahertz signal. Okay, going up in frequency 4, 6, 7, 8. .6, which is where it's supposed to be resonating, but that's under load, I guess. Going up in frequency 15, 16, 17, 18. So now we are approaching. I have to tune it down a little bit. At 20 megahertz, still going up, and here we have the peak. Tune it down again once more. Okay, tuning for maximum, which will be here. So this is around 22 megahertz, as you can see also here. So somehow the self-resonance frequency of any L3 coil, I suspect, is around 22 megahertz. Perhaps it's a little bit being loaded by the probe. You can see. I will remove the probe or get some distance from it. If possible, retune. Okay, here it is retuned. It's even higher, 24 megahertz at the moment. Now I have the probe completely separated from the L3 coil. So it's not surprisingly that I see on the spectrum analyzer yesterday a kind of peak or dip on the L3 coil. I was using the boat in series yesterday, but I don't think that makes a lot of difference. I will use the spectrum analyzer again on a single coil to see how this bandwidth of the coil is. Okay, hang on. Okay, welcome back. I have set up my double L3 coils here attached to the Schottky diode ring and the LEDs. I have my spectrum analyzer and tracking generator prepared. I have a range of 0 to 100 megahertz. And I have normalized it, so we have now with the connection leads connected together a flat line. I will leave the black leads connected together, and I will remove the spectrum analyzer lead. This is the tracking analyzer red lead, which I feed at the bottom, and I use the spectrum analyzer red lead now to connect to the minus lead at the diodes. So we have between the tracking generator signal and the spectrum analyzer, we now have the test signal, and you can see we have some peaks, and let me put the marker first on the first peak, which is the 3 megahertz I was shown yesterday, 3.16 megahertz, and the second dip is, sorry for the shaking, my hand is a little bit tired, 23 megahertz, which is what we saw earlier, the self-resonance of one L3 coil. So I'm not sure why I'm seeing now this again with 2 coils. Okay, I will move now the spectrum analyzer to omit the board, so I remove the Schottky diode board and I now attach it to the end of the second L3 coil, and we can see that the first peak at 3 megahertz is gone, and we have still the second peak, or now the first peak at marker 23 megahertz. Okay, moving again the spectrum analyzer lead now to the top of the first L3 coil. And we can see that now the 23 megahertz peak has gone. There's a little dip there still, but I think if I remove the second coil it will be gone. And all we are left is with this peak here, which is around 56 megahertz, which I cannot explain. It's not a double of the 23, which will be 46, so not sure where that comes from. I can do the same now with the a single L3 coil. I just had the self-resonance of, I remove the tracking generator lead, attach it there, and then the spectrum analyzer lead. And we can see we have the same curve. We have a little dip at in the middle, which is the not sure what. We have a peak here, 30, and a dip in front, 29, and here we have this 22 megahertz dip again, or peak. So I'm not sure where this 22 megahertz peak comes from with the double L3 coils in series, while we see none, or practically none, at the single L3 coil. What we do see is a self-resonance at around that frequency on the L3 coil. Okay, thank you for watching.